Hello, everybody, and welcome to the True Love Talk channel. Here we want to talk about human sexuality and love based on the teachings that Pope John Paul II left in the Theology of the Body. I am Elisa, and today we're going to talk about what we need to learn to love well and have a good sex life. So, let's begin. Okay, so in the last videos, we have seen and we have analyzed how the current narratives, the narratives created from the sexual revolution and the feminine revolution have made us change the way that we live sexuality, but these changes have not always been positive, and they have all sometimes ended up in the castration complexes, both feminine and masculine, and how living those complexes means giving up our possibilities of happiness, our humanity, giving up our dignity, giving up who we are as people, and our ability to love. Analyzing this kind of narratives usually reminds me of this story of the Emperor's New Suit. This is a children's story written by Hans Christian Andersen. For those of you who don't remember how that works, I'm going to summarize the story. Basically, the Emperor is a man who likes suits very much. He likes clothing, and so a pair of thieves learn about this, and they enter court with a loom that is empty, absolutely empty, and they tell the emperor that uh, this loom creates magic fabric, a fabric that can only be seen by those who are smart. That they know that because the emperor is a smart person, that he's seeing fabric, but that he has to believe them, that idiots cannot see anything there. The emperor is not saying anything because the loom is empty, but because he's ashamed of saying out loud that he's not saying anything and be understood or be seen as an idiot, he chooses to say that he sees the fabric. And when the emperor says that he sees a fabric, everybody else in court decide to say that they see it too, out of shame of feeling of saying out loud that they are idiots and that they don't see anything. And though and so what started as the lie that two people said becomes a lie that everybody else confirms with their attitudes and by saying that yeah, they actually see anything. So the thieves decide to rob the emperor for as much as they can, and they ask for pearls and precious stones and precious metals to use with this magical fabric and so on for his new suit. And when they realize that they have enough and they're or that they cannot justify anything else, they tell the emperor that the suit is finished and they that he can show it off for to his people basically. And the emperor says that he's going to show off his new magic suit that can only be seen by people who are smart. And because nobody wants to be called an idiot, they all say they see it, even though the only thing they see is a naked emperor. Until a little kid just walks up to the emperor and asks him, what is he doing naked in the middle of the street? And that is why everybody understands that there's nothing to be seen, that there's nothing to see there. In this is basically what happens with the post-truth narratives, all of them. We start believing, but especially when it comes to sexuality, we start believing that, hey, everybody says that this is the right way of living sexuality. So if I am feeling wrong, if I don't feel well about this, if I think that there's something that is making me uncomfortable, it must be my issue. It must be my issue, and I must be a weirdo because I don't want to be violent or to dominate women. I must be a weirdo, or there must be something wrong with me because I don't want to be sexually available for men all the time. I must be an idiot because I I want to not have to I want to be able to depend on other people, and I don't want to have all the money in the world. I would rather have a big family, right? But we convince ourselves that everybody else is happy, so I must be the only person who who doesn't get it, and that is why I am the one who's not feeling happy because everybody else is, and everybody else says it is, and we put on our brave face and we smile, and that convinces others that we're fine and that it's only their problem if they're feeling something wrong, right? So living human sexuality well is fundamental for having a good human life because the goal of human life is love, as we have said so many times before, right? And so we need love, as we have said before as well, is an emotion. So it is a decision. It has to be decided. So we need to create a habit that allows us to decide to love well all the time. Good habits are what we call virtues. That is a virtue, a good habit. So we have to find a virtue that allows us to love well every time. And this virtue is chastity. And yes, I know that most people are allergic to this word, but here's the deal. By now, after hearing me talk about how sexuality is about love, we know that sexuality and abstinence are not exactly the same, right? Because chastity is only equal to abstinence in the relationships, in romantic relationships that are not yet a marriage, right? So, girlfriend boyfriend relationship, that kind of relationships, we need abstinence. In the rest of relationships, chastity cannot be abstinence because it doesn't apply. In spousal relationships, when marriage is present, the spouses need to show them the love for each other through sex, through genitality. So of course, chastity in marriage means having sex. When it comes to all other relationships, such as father-daughter or with parent-child relationships, or friend relationships, or the relationship with love, we do not need genitality, so abstinence cannot be part of love. Chastity means purity, and it means to love in a pure way. So, how to love purely when genitality is not expected, but doesn't have to do with abstinence. That is why in the next videos, what we're going to do is analyze each kind of relationship and see how does chastity look like for each kind of relationship. What does chastity means in my relationship with love, in my relationship with myself, in my relationship with my friends, and so on. The very next video, we're going to talk about chastity with God. How does chastity look like in our relationship with God? Okay, so yeah, that's it for today's video. I'm very glad that you decided to stay until the end of the video. If you want to comment or have any questions, please write them in the comment section below. I will try to answer them as soon as possible. And well, see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Lots of blessings for everybody. Bye.